Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Okay, you guys out there is going to be your first time to the Philippines. What you need to bring with you? Patience. That's the key. The reason I say that, because things here in the Philippines are not the same as the Western world. And you'll find out real quick. Now, if you plan on living here, I'll give you a piece of advice. Do not purchase a house as soon as you get here. The reason I say that, well, everybody's different. You want to live in an area that you have potential of doing your purchase. You want to spend some time there before you actually step on it. Because, unloading a house because you're unhappy and dissatisfied, it's not that easy. It can be done. But why have to put yourself through all that? If you plan on living here, I advise you to live in multiple places. At least 90 days at a time. That's really not enough. Now, depending on your lifestyle, or city life, or the country, suits you. Me, I'm an old country boy. Coming right out of the mountains, and guess where I'm at? I'm right down in the valley in between the mountains, in the jungle. And I'm very happy. So I built a house. Took me a while to do that. So patience is a big key. Buying things here, it takes patience. Transportation, you better have patience. Especially if you buy a new vehicle. Registrations can take time. I've got a couple of motorcycles out there I've sold and done legal transfer and everything, but still have never gotten a plate for them. A Yamaha 150 Sniper, that was 4 years ago, no plate. My Kawasaki Adventure that I sold 7 years ago. Wow, I didn't realize it was that long. No plate. Of course, had to have one made at your local print shop or whatever. So, but then, getting the paperwork processed. I can remember my first motorcycle, a little Honda Wave 125 that I loved. 11 months before I got my registration. That was in 2010. So 2011 before I got to legally drive it. I did drive, by the way. Because if you don't get the OR and CR, you can't legally drive. OR is the original registration, and the CR is a certificate of registration, if you want to OR and CR is. And I recommend if you do get those, again, patience apply. Make copies. Never carry the originals with you. That's just the way I do it. Just like with our little van, I don't carry the original paperwork with it. I keep that at home. I bought a little truck before the van. And it had registration. I had the OR and CR, and I made a place for it. And it come time to register again, which come up short. Instead of 12 months, I think I was in, the original registration was set for June. And the people I bought the vehicle from, which was a major supplier here for the little truck, I bought it because we were building a house and needed something to carry material. When it come up, they contacted us and told us that our registration was due. I said, it's not due to June. But they've been notified through LTO that the plate number that I was issued is no longer valid. So we go and they give us the paperwork that's necessary to renew the registration. And it was moved to April. And I had to pay for another set of plates that I never got. Patience. You gotta have patience. Applying for anything you need. If you're fortunate enough to build a house, applying for electricity when it's ready. Now here, I went through multiple inspections by the local electrician, trying to do everything legal. And this is during the rough end. That's when it's all open wires. The inspection had to be done. And they had to have the civil engineer here too. Patience. And they measure all my square footage and all that good stuff, or square meters for that. They do meters. And then when they did the actual plug-ins and light fixtures and things like that, another inspection. My drop bar had to be so many feet high. Of course, my local electrician, which was the license and binding and so forth, I had it done with him. Now the cost is not that bad at that time. It's just a process. The final inspection required the local electrician, a person from the electric company, and the civil engineer. They came here and done their visuals and measurements again and counted every plug-in and every light fixture. I thought that was unusual. I've never had anyone. I've never experienced it that way. And they gave me a certificate of approval. I said, good, now I can have my electricity committed. No. Patience again. Required a seminar, an all-day class. So Grace and I, we have to drive roughly 3 hours to the place where they do the seminar. That's one way. They spend a whole day at a seminar, electrical class. And I kept thinking to myself, now, there's people here I know is probably not mechanically or electrical inclined, and they have to sit through this and not knowing a clue what's going on. They don't know a copper wire from an aluminum wire. They just know it's wire. They don't know a 10 amp breaker from a 100 amp breaker. They just know it's a breaker. Because I can see the expressions on their face when they're going over this stuff. Then, after the class, Grace issued a card, identification card that she has, went through the course, the one-day course. and we had to schedule an appointment to apply for our electricity connection. And it was roughly a couple of weeks out. And see, we didn't want to move in here before the first year. So we'd get out paying rent before we was paying, so save that money. But we was already building this house. We was on the bottom line, no funds. So we got the connection date. And, oh, by the way, there's a fee for the connection. It wasn't that bad. I think 1,500 pesos. That wasn't the big part. We also had to pay a substantial deposit. And that is determined by the number of the electrical plug-ins and lights. So we had to pay a substantial deposit. I think it was about 6,500 pesos or something like that, which is a little over $100, but here in the Philippines, that's big. So that explains when I went there in a lot of houses, you got this single one bulb light in this big house in the living room, and you'll see one plug in. So that's a self-explanatory. It dawned on me, that's why you see so few plug-ins in houses here in the Philippines. Because each one requires a larger deposit. But, again, patience. The process of building a house, and it's not that bad. But going through all the legal paperwork, getting permits, we have to go through the civil engineer office, and they have to draft up a draft. I did a rough draft, and they took that and made their own in the process before we could even do the footers, legally. So it's a process, but that's okay. I got a good solid house. I'm happy, but it takes patience. That's ideal of what I went through in the process of building the house. Of course, now if you went through all that, I'm sure there's some changes over time. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure there are some. And I'm sure it depends on location too. Because it's my understanding it's not consistent throughout the Philippines. Each area will have their own guidelines on construction. That's the way it is. So keep that in mind if that's something you plan on doing, is building a house. And I highly recommend doing it as legal as possible. And that requires you multiple visits to the engineer's office and so forth, and everything through the city that you're associated with. And there's fees involved. It's not astronomical, but it does run into a little bit of money. That was my experience with electrical and some of the building process here. Of course, you can still build a house much less than most western parts of the world. Or you can spend more. It depends on what you want to build. I built a small house. It was affordable. My house run me at that time, I think almost 17,000 US dollars. Took a long time to say that much, by the way. And when we moved in, we was broke. I mean, literally broke. Of course, when you only got one income, Social Security, that's what you got to deal with. But it's possible to do it if you get the right partner and you save money. We took, I think, about 6 years to save enough money to get to build this. It was a long, hard process. Doing without a lot. We got to do things, but it was a process. Thankfully, that my wife is very conservative, and so am I, and we did it. But anyway, folks, I appreciate you watching my videos. Hopefully I can get somewhere that's a little bit more exciting than this boring stuff. So, stay tuned, and you know what to do.